Oh, welcome back, viewers. Just before the break, we were talking to Muhammad Ali. You were talking about working in the trade. You worked full time in the trade, first of all.
For periods, you know,
For
some
a period,
holidays
yeah.
and
And you
like
mentioned something about hasra customer. I like
That's
the way
right.
you said that. Can you please continue from there?
Yeah, look, the reason why I say khasra customer, because translated, it doesn't hold the same weight, right? When I say khasra customer, I'm sure your viewers will know, anyone in the trade will know what I'm talking about.
I understand what you mean.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyone who's worked for a short period of time knows what I'm talking about. Those people, the things that we had to put up with, especially in a late night business, the trouble we had to put up with, oh, where's my curry, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff that we used to hear. And not just hear, we had to persevere with it. That's the dilemma, and I present this in the exhibition, and I was particularly keen to express that because there is this different approaches as well between our fathers and ourselves, i.e. the next generation that isn't taking no rubbish basically, and there's the level of patience that our parents would have. Let them go. That's what our parents would say. Yeah, let them go. And we would say, why? Why should we? We used to chase them guys. And it was necessary to chase them. And not just chase them, but actually establish that we would not take anything like this kind of behavior.
Not tolerated anymore.
So the early immigrants, what this picture paints a picture of, what this story I mentioned is that they're kind of how we accepted and fought and sometimes physically, right, to establish ourselves in this industry as people who aren't going to be kind of walked all over. But our parents had a lot more, how can I put it, as I said, they were a little bit more pacifist, they were a little bit more let them go, whereas we didn't take it. And I think our approach, I think there's a balance that was required, of course, there's some wisdom in some of the things they do and say, but we had to stand our ground. Otherwise, till this day, we would still have people doing runners and smashing up our windows. I have no doubt in that.
You mentioned during the break, we were talking about, you mentioned about three sisters working in a restaurant. And
that's another story in itself, and we cover it again in the exhibition around the taboo, if you like, of women working in the Indian restaurant trade. Many might be surprised at that, but we uncovered many stories of women. I mean, my mother included. If you saw in the short video we played earlier, my mother was in that. She was speaking about how she used to go and help out here and there, but she was a little bit behind the scenes. There's some cases we found of women who were fully kind of engaged in the restaurant trade, right? And they tell their story. The women play a massive role in this narrative of Bengali restaurants. They were either working in the restaurants, and again, it's all in the exhibition. They were working, or they were behind the scenes, maintaining their families and struggling to bring up large families, while the husbands were often, let's put it this way, they were out of the way. They were busy bringing in money and working sometimes day and night shifts. I speak from my own example, where my father at one point was working in the factories and then at the restaurants at the same time. So they were bringing in the money, and there was a lot of pressure on the women to bring up, which was quite large families. So there has to be credit given to to everybody, and that's women included.
have you picked up any skills from the curry industry for your current profession that you're in now?
I would argue that the work that I do, even now when I'm painting and doing the artwork, I'll argue that it was the curry trade that gave me the confidence to be able to even speak in public. When I do a lot of public speaking and things, and I'm standing in front of 1,000 people, I remember engaging with my customers, to Frank, saying, "Hey Frank, how's it going? What are you having tonight?" That's where this social skills, the people skills, came from, because we had to be able to impress people. They were, you know as well, I'm sure people would certainly, even to the point where they would eat only on the days that they know you're working. If it's your night off, they're not eating that night. That's powerful. That just shows the impact of people skills. It impacted people to the point they changed when they eat, because they like coming in. It wasn't just to eat the food, but they're coming for a good chat with you as well, where you'd have a good banter with them. Banter was required, and you had to adjust your level of speaking depending on which kind of person you're getting, what background they're from. You're analysing by the way they're dressed, and even the accent you speak to them in. These are important skills, life skills that I think we take for granted, isn't it? Some of these things. That's one thing I can think of.
Would you like to add anything to that, Mr. Shah?
I think I'd agree with Ali Bhai. The banter is very important, and it's a hard trait. It's not for everyone. Not everyone understands banter. but still having that dynamic there and that respect, relationship-wise, between you as the business owner and the customer, but also having, building friendships and relationships. I've had pilots come in and say, Sharp, do you want to come in? I'm going flying. Do you want to go flying with me? I said, give me 1 second, let me lock up. And then I went on a biplane, and he just took me
Wow.
to the local aerodrome, and then we did a loop-the-loop in an open airplane. And I thought, I don't think I'll ever do that again, but it's one thing I've done, and I wouldn't have got that opportunity without actually engaging with these customers.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity working in the industry, networking with many
There's
different
so many
influential
people
people
you
you
can
can.
meet,
It depends how you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's what our forefathers have done in the past as well. That's how they climbed the ladder and really. Well, I mean, British national food, Indian curry. To get that on the map is a very difficult thing.
Well,
they've done it.
This is the spirit of this exhibition. Sorry to butt in here, but
Yeah.
I think that really what you just said encapsulates what we are doing here. That we, as the Bangladeshi community, transform the national cuisine, right?
Exactly.
A
Massive.
£1 billion industry here, yet our community has never told its own story. The British public have been forever oblivious and ignorant about the story. Because why? Indian restaurant. They don't know Bangladesh, they don't know Bengali people, they don't know who these people are from Sylhet, mainly from Sylhet, right? And this is what this exhibition does. This is how powerful and important it is to have this exhibition out in a city, major city museum. That's what we've done here, and I think our community should really embrace this fact. This is why I've taken the time out to come here, because I often work in different circles, but coming back and trying to get that knowledge out to the community.
That's what my questions I was going to ask you actually. There's 3 questions in one. What are the benefits of Nights of Raj, and what do people need to see? Why do they need to see it, right? And what benefit can it bring to our community? Can you? I mean, we're almost coming to the end of the show, but
sure. I'll try and be concise here, because it's really important, that this is not just a nice fluffy exhibition like when you see in a gallery. Yeah, you feel good from it, it feels nice. This is important for developing and progressing our community, right? Otherwise we're doomed. I'm sorry, I'm painting a dark picture here, but if we don't know our past, how can we move forward? If the people of the 3rd, 4th generations who are born and raised here, and we're struggling with these identities, issues of, in the time when they talk about immigrants and what have they contributed, right? And they just sponge off the system. Actually, you know what? This story in this museum that goes into the mainstream, right? It challenges this idea that even our children perhaps would believe this, that yes, we are not offering anything, we haven't given anything. Our parents came here and worked hard. No one ever had it easy. They never got anything on a plate. They worked day and night, and that story, through the pictures, through the videos, through the exhibition that you can immerse yourself in, will, in a powerful way, will tell that story that people need to know about ourselves as a community, because what it will do is uplift us in terms of our confidence across generations. The elder generation feel like, as they might approach their kind of, the latter part of their life, they're able to feel content that their story's been told. The psychological impact on the elders, the murabbis that I've sat with, when I've sat with them, their eyes are wide open and they're so excited, because they think that this person has come to me to take my story, and have just been sitting there with this knowledge in their heads and nobody cares. Has anybody come along and extracted that? And that's what I've been doing, and what Knights of the Raj has been doing. It's a psychological impact on across all generations. There are multiple factors, which means that we are able to know who we are so we can move forward.
Yeah, definitely. And the exhibition's been running for 3 months. What's the next after Night of Raj?
This is just the beginning. Even though we've got 1 week to go now. January the 14th is the end date, and actually on the January the 14th itself, on the Sunday, perfect time for the Bengali community at 1 o'clock, right? What time the weddings happen. Hopefully, if there are no weddings, I'd say everybody on Sunday the 14th of Jan is the final day when we have a kind of grand finale event at the museum. We want to go out in style, but we're not just kind of ending this exhibition, but it will also be the beginning of taking this onto other cities. So London and other cities are in the pipeline. Even New York, actually, potentially, we're taking a version of this to New York. Book, documentary, kind of just, this is the beginning really, and
the
we need
beginning,
people,
really, yeah.
we need the community really to step up and say, we want to support this, we want to take this forward, so that this becomes a household name across, you know, every household in the country. That's, I think we've done a good job at achieving that so far, but we need to.
Maybe from our viewers, maybe some who can tell a story or give you some more information. Would you welcome that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we're still building. We're recording stories. I'm traveling around the country because although it was primarily Birmingham we started off with, we are already beginning kind of tracking from around the country, from up north, because there was, you know, northern towns like Oldham. There are some old stories there. London, of course, you know, with its strong history there. You know, we are still collecting items, recording stories, but primarily we need the support of the community to at least value what we are doing for the community here. Because I tell you, at the museum, you'll see good 90% of the audiences are white British public. They are probably more excited about Nights of the Raj than our own community. That's something to really ponder upon and think, hang on, something's not right there.
Okay, thank you very much. So viewers, you've just heard Muhammad Ali's just said, if you're from London or any other city, and if you've got a story to tell, please be in touch with us. And you've got our email, it's businesstoday@europentv.com. That's businesstoday@europentv.com. So you can email us and we will put you in touch with Muhammad Ali and his team. So any stories that you have, families or pictures, or even if you have a restaurant that has opened in the 1940s or whatever, please be in touch with us, because it is interesting and it is something we need to start preserving now. And you know, without history you can't paint the future, so we need to keep the history alive and see the future. Now I'm going to come to the end of the show now, so I want to thank you gentlemen for coming onto the show. Thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you.
And most importantly, thank the NTV team and our coordinator Farsu Ahmed Chaudhry for bringing two wonderful guests for me. So viewers, remember, if you've got any information on Nights of Raj, or if you want any information, sorry, then please do email us. And also for any other previous shows or anything, please go onto YouTube or check online, or email us businesstoday@europentv.com. Thank you very much for being with us today, and remember, tomorrow's business is business today.